I don't mind a little gout as long as I get what I want. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I'm here to review Season 6, Episode 2 of The Real Housewives Who Are Gout Dick Suckers of Salt Lake City. So we start the episode off with everybody waking up in the RV at the campsite that they took their cat trip on. And they were serious about this because I thought it was going to be a one-off thing. They were going to go back home and call it a night. But no, they were dedicated to the whole camping experience, so here they are. Whitney, she's waking up in the sink. Brunwyn, she's waking up in the refrigerator. Heather, I believe she slept in the engine or with the wolves, one or the other. You know, because the RV is just but so big, so they had but so many beds. And after everything that happened the night before with them being scared inside the woods, looking for Molly, whoever the hell she is, Meredith in the confessional, she goes, well, I mean, what did everybody expect? You know, production was never going to allow anything bad to happen to us. That'll be a liability, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of, guess who I'm seeing next week? Meredith herself, because apparently now she's a DJ, so she's going on a DJ tour. Right, but I mean, if she wants to be a DJ, who am I to stop her, right? And her first stop is here in Los Angeles, specifically at a nightclub in West Hollywood. So I bought my ticket for next week. I shall be in the building supporting DJ Meredith. And, you know, I'm just so curious of how that's going to look like because I've seen videos and it seems like a really good time. Like, she has a lot of energy. So I could only imagine she'll be up there with her big ass headphones like, I'm disengaging, engaging. I'm disengaging. You know, if you just so happen to be there as well, and you just so happen to see me shaking my ass to the left, to the right, on an old man for some money, mind your business. Or just, you know, just come on over and say hello, but just, you know, keep it between us. Nobody has to know, you know what I'm saying? So then Whitney, she tells the group, oh, let's go by the river and go brush our teeth over there. Like, imagine being a fish, heading home to your family after a long day of work. Your fins are about to give out. You're hungry. You look up. All of a sudden, you start hearing the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, like, la, 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 la. I can't wait to get home. I'm so hungry. Ooh, what was that? What was that? Is that toothpaste and spit? Somebody just spat in my fucking eye. Who did this? I know that's not who I think it is. Is that Heather Gay from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? It is her. Oh, wait, let me call Jen Shaw quickly. I got something for you, Heather. Think twice before spitting in my fucking eye. What's wrong with you? This is my home. So after they get done polluting the river, they sit down in a circle. They start heating up some bacon, some steak. Heather, she starts off with one of her many sob stories and she tells them, I'm just really sad that my daughter is leaving my home. You know, she's my last daughter and she's going away and, you know, I'm not going to have anybody at home with me. No man, no storyline, no purpose on this show. I don't even know if production might ask me back for next season. I'm just going to be me, myself, and I, like that one Beyonce song. And I'm worried because I really need my Bravo check. Like, what am I going to do? So Brunwyn, she's trying to be relatable to Heather, right? And she tells her, I completely understand what you're going through because I'm going through the same thing with my daughter, Gwen, as well. She was thinking of moving out with her boyfriend, but I said, you know what? Instead of you moving out, why doesn't your boyfriend move in with us? So he moved in with them. And then we see in a little flashback, her, Gwen, which I think it's cute that both of them have matching... You know, they have matching bobs. We see both of them along with the boyfriend just making breakfast. And again, Gwen and the boyfriend are only 18. Like, Brunwyn, I get it in general. Like, you know, you can love your kids, you want them to be next to you, and you want to protect them and stuff, but this is a bit too much. Like, he's only 18. And, you know, first of all, you know, his parents just approved this. Like, oh, okay, honey, like, you could go in and move in with this random family. Like, what? But then again, you know, I'm pretty sure the second that Brunwyn asked him, hey, you know, would you want to move in with us? I know he was probably like, cha-ching, college tuition secured. That's probably what the family was thinking of too. Like, you know, honey, like, yeah, you could go move in with them. But, you know, late at night when they're sleeping, try to sneak some jewelry in your backpack and then bring it back to us so we could pawn it for some money. Brunwyn, you need to get a hobby. Like, go learn how to crochet or go do a salsa class or, you know, go clean out that questionable closet with those questionable outfits of yours. Like, but to move in the boyfriend at 18, that's a bit much. Just because you don't want your daughter to move away from you? Like, then Heather, I'm not really sure what conversation she heard Brunwyn tell her, but all of a sudden she's like, oh, so what, you don't think that I love my daughters? You're calling me a bitch. I'm I'm like, Heather, what? Like, Brunwyn is looking at her like, I'm trying to relate to you. I never suggested that. And Heather was just like, yeah, you did. You basically said that I don't love Annabelle. I don't love her at all. That I was a terrible mother. That's what you're saying, right? That I was a bad Mormon. And I'm like, oof. Heather, you see, that's the guilt jumping out at you. That's how you probably really feel deep down inside. But I mean, nobody was accusing you of that unless they edit that whole conversation out. So then Whitney, she jumps in it and she's like, guys, I really wanted to talk about, the new episode of Scooby-Doo last week, but, we were talking about Lisa Barlow, but I want to talk about my financial issues. I spent all of the money between me and Justin on the new Powerpuff Girl toys. I really wanted the Blossom doll, so I bought it, and it was really expensive, and, now me and Justin are poor. And then we see in a little flashback of her and Justin, Whitney's crying because, she spent all the money on her schemes and scams and, all her schemes that Todd didn't come up with this time, and I always said that it was going to be Whitney who divorces Justin, but honestly, I feel like it's going to be Justin who divorces Whitney for putting them in such a hole financially. And speaking of holes, if both of you really wanted to get out of this financial, struggle, this is my suggestion. And, just walk with me. Once upon a time, not too long ago, unfortunately, on this very show, Whitney and Justin, we saw both of you playing around in paint with nothing on but your swimsuit. And Justin, I remember you were kneeling right behind Whitney before you spanked her in the ass. I'm sorry, I'm getting flashbacks of that scene and I'm getting kind of disgusted, but maybe if both of you tapped into that market again and maybe created some content for OF, maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, maybe you could make like $15, $20 a week. So then Whitney turns it over to Mary. Mary, what's going on between you and Robert Jr.? And for a second, I thought Mary was going to tell Whitney, stop talking to me. But Mary was open to it. She was just like, well, me and Robert Jr., we're going through it one day at a time. And we all remember that heartbreaking conversation last season, right? So then she looks at Heather and she's like, Heather, I'm really proud of you of the mother you are with all three of your daughters. I think you raised them really well. And I'm like, what was in that steak that they were eating? Because Mary complimenting Heather? Like, that is crazy. She must have got some good sleep on the RV, right? So then we see Heather meeting up with this detective who turns out to be the one and only Miss Taco Bell herself, Lisa Barlow, dressed as Inspector Gadget with his trench coat. And speaking of outfits, Heather. Because they're both meeting up at this restaurant, but Heather walks in and, it said otherwise because she had on this George Washington top with this trailer park shorts on with these Mary J. Blige boots. And did anybody notice the lady sitting right behind Heather the second that Heather walked in? The way she looked at Heather in disgust, like, please make her a friend for next season. Like, I get it. We see each other. I completely understand it, but Heather, oh my goodness. Somebody lied to her several times and told her she was fly, hot, and sexy, and she's nothing of the sort. She's nothing of that. But she sits down, Lisa, she's like, oh my God, hi baby gorgeous. I love your outfit. It's a little bit questionable. It'll look better on me, but it looks good. It looks okay. Actually, it looks like shit. You look terrible. You look like trash. Go disappear. But you look nice though. I love those boots. I love it, baby gorgeous. So Heather, she is happy to get her one-on-one time with Lisa. And already Lisa was just like, well, wait a minute. So how was the camping trip? I know it was good. Tell me about it. I know it was all about me, right? I love me. I love enough. I love myself enough for the both of us. Tell me, Heather. Heather, she was just like, yeah, they were dragging you. You weren't there, but it was kind of like you were there because you were the main topic. Brunwyn, Heather, Meredith, everybody, the Housewives of New Jersey, the Housewives of Miami, Beverly Hills, Potomac, all of them were dragging you, Lisa. Like, it was just a nonstop go at Lisa day. Like, it was ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, so Lisa, she starts getting emotional and she was just like, wait a minute, because I didn't even do anything to anybody. What are you talking about, Heather? What were they saying about me? Tell me. So Heather, she was just like, they were saying something about lawsuits or whatever, like, something about you getting sued. And Lisa was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. No, I can't. I'm not going to do this today. I'm not. Wait, can I get a Kit Kat, please? And can you give me a Nacho Bel Grande extra lettuce, please? Yeah, thank you. And a Slurpee from 7-Eleven. Yeah, the blueberry kind, thank you. I cannot believe this. No, Heather, because I can't. They always want to talk bad about me. I didn't even do anything to anybody. And then in the confessional, she was just like, they're always trying to, go after the top bitch. It's never the bottom bitch. And then she tells Heather, did anybody defend me in this conversation about lawsuits? And Heather was foaming at the mouth. She was practically salivating. She was like, time to kiss some ass right now, and maybe Lisa's gonna be my best friend. No, Lisa, nobody defended you but me. I was the only one. Everybody talked bad about you except me. I was defending your name and your honor. And I'm like, you're such a fucking liar, Camille. Like, we had Pamela Anderson, aka Brittany. She was defending Lisa. Now, I don't know if Lisa's aware of who Brittany is. But she was defending her. So the fact that you don't even want to acknowledge that because you want to be the only angel in Lisa's eyes. And then Lisa had the nerve to come at you face to face right there. She was just like, look, everybody in this group knows that I do big things and I am better than all of you. Now, see, if I was Heather, I would have put my fork down like, wait a minute, come again? Like, Heather didn't say anything. She basically just stomped all over you with her Louis Vuitton boots, and that was it. And then she kept it walking. But yeah, you want Lisa's approval so badly that you're willing to take that, right? Just spineless. But this is no surprise because Lisa has said it before on season 2. I am richer than all of you. I don't have to be here. So, she tries to explain this lawsuit about some man suing her business from 15 years ago. And, it sounds a bit questionable, but I said it before that this whole entire cast, the way they get their money and their business, all of them are shady. I don't trust any of them when it comes to anything financially or business-wise. I do feel like all of them get their money in very suspicious ways. And Lisa, that doesn't make you any different. And things get a little bit more suspicious when we see Brunwyn and Whitney meeting up in the mountains to build a snowman. Brunwyn mentions how the man who is suing Lisa had put in his lawsuit that he didn't want John Barlow, who is Lisa's husband, to find out that Lisa was using his Amex card. Ooh, Lisa, were you doing something that you shouldn't have been doing behind your husband's back? Am I hearing that correctly? Because if it's true, I'm not upset with you, but you have to move a little bit smarter because now look, you got exposed. You had it good, and now look, 2 different incomes from your husband and your side piece, and now look, just blew it all together. But I could have sworn just a second ago, Lisa, in that conversation with Heather, that you said, you do great things and you have it like that, and you're richer than everybody on this cast, but yet now you have to go to somebody else's bank account to use their Amex card. How suspicious is that? So then we head over to Mary's house and we see another heartbreaking conversation between her and her son, Robert Jr. He comes in the room, and just like the last conversation that they had, you could tell that he's not fully there, understandable because he's trying to get better. So of course it's not going to happen overnight, but he tells Mary that he's trying to, I guess cut off the bad influences around him, his friends and stuff. But because of that, now it has led to a different issue of isolation and loneliness. So he tried to close one issue just to open up another one, unfortunately. And that has caused him to, I guess stimulate himself in different ways. I believe he said that he was smoking weed, and Mary questions him like, okay, is that it, or are you doing more? He looks a little questionable, like he doesn't want to disappoint his mom, but he says, no, it's just weed. But he feels isolated, and Mary is trying to be there for him. And it's just so sad, like he's trying to cut off the bad influence in his life. But now look, and then on top of that, where's his wife? The woman, the girl from last season, is she still with him? Are they still a thing? I just saw an article not too long ago that supposedly he got arrested. Robert Jr. got arrested for trespassing. So I'm not sure how true that is, but it's just so sad to see. I hope that Mary continues trying to help him and he eventually gets onto the right direction. Now, of course, it's not going to happen overnight. So then we finally get to the social party at Amy's house. And you're probably wondering, who is Amy? According to Heather earlier in the episode, she said that Amy is a socialite in Salt Lake City. So now here we are. And Amy, come over here. Come over here for a second, Amy. Amy, come over here. Sit right here next to me. Move back a little bit. You're stepping on my foot. I'm not a lawyer, but did you at least negotiate your contract for this episode or for this season? Because they literally just use your house for aesthetic reasons, a place to show up, wear something fancy, go at it with each other, talk about gout dick sucking and lawsuits, and leave and go home. And you got nothing out of it. Did they at least pay you to use the house for aesthetics? Like this fancy event just for nothing, just for you to not get a snowflake, a friend of, nothing. I at least would have told Bravo, you could film at my house, but I have to at least be not a friend of the show, but an acquaintance of the show. Everybody showing up one by one with these questionable outfits. And by questionable, I'm looking at you, Miss Cotton Candy, aka Brunwyn. Brunwyn, every now and then you do get an outfit correctly, but it's almost like she thinks, by buying these extreme looking outfits that, she's like fashionable and stuff, when in reality it's the outfit wearing her. Like, we see Meredith and her husband, Zeph. Zeph, I really like Zeph. He shows up. They show up to this green grassy wall that has holes in it. And I'm like, that's suspicious. Are we at a gay club? But, all of a sudden one of the holes opens up and an arm comes out with a glass of champagne. And, Zeph is just like, whoa, is this a glory hole? And I'm like, now, Zeph, come over here. Just come over here. You two, come over here for a second. Now, how do you know what a glory hole is? Like, if you know, you know. But how do you know? Have you been talking to Angie K's husband? Has he been teaching you a thing or two? But speaking of, Angie K shows up. And I believe Suspicious Sean, he's also with her. Everybody shows up, right? They all look nice. They're all mingling. They're having drinks, this, that, and the third. Lisa finally shows up. And Lisa just had her eyes already ready to fight. She shows up and she goes up to Meredith, and Meredith is just like, well, hello, Lisa. It was pretty. It was kind of a shame, at this camping retreat, how everybody was talking about you. And, it was just very disrespectful. I would say that I wasn't engaging with this conversation, but it was a lot. And Lisa, she starts going off and she's like, I just can't believe it. Yet Heather told me that we were bringing up lawsuits. Like, what is that about? I didn't even do anything to anybody. So then Pamela Anderson, she shows up trying to, stir the pot, which I appreciate, because she kind of set the match. And then Lisa just, because she tells Lisa, Angie K Elemental P, she actually compared you to Jen Shah. And again, it's just still crazy to me that Jen Shah is still a topic on the show. Lisa, she goes off and she's like, what? I can't believe this. Jen Shah, you're comparing me to a fucking criminal. Like, this is crazy. And speaking of, going back to Brittany for a second, Brittany shows up with her ex-fiance, Jared, and they're just kissing and all over each other. And I'm like... Like, Brittany is the friend that you have in your early 20s, but not, in your 30s, late 40s. Like, at some point, Brittany, you need to stop acting like that. A hot mess. Brittany is me. I like her. So, Lisa's going off and she's like, you know what? Instead of talking to Meredith, I'm just going to address the issue. So she goes up to Angie K. She's like, Angie K, you call me Jen Shah. What's going on? What's happening? I can't believe this. I was going to take you to Taco Bell tomorrow. Now, forget about it. I'm not doing that. What's happening? So Angie K takes her like 45 minutes to get to the point. And she's like, well, first of all, Lisa, it wasn't that I was comparing you like that. I was just, talking about the lawsuits. And I'm like, okay, Angie K, spit it out. So then Brunwyn, she's listening, close by, and she's like, and Whitney and Heather are just like, just salivating, right? And Lisa starts going off on Angie K. So then Brunwyn, she interrupts and she's like, well, since this conversation is mostly about what I said about you, Lisa, and me bringing up the lawsuit, I feel like you should address me. Why did she say that? Lisa, she looks over at Miss Cotton Candy and she's like, first of all, Brunwyn, I wasn't talking about you. I'm talking to Angie K right now. You shut up. I'm not talking about you. And, Lisa's mouth is crazy sometimes, but you could tell that she is pissed, right? Meanwhile, we see all the husbands. They're in one other room, and, I actually wouldn't mind seeing more of them together. I like their dynamics because they're also suspicious. And, we see Jared. They're talking to Jared. Zeph is just like, wait, so do you really love Brittany like that? Questions we all want to know, right? So then back with Lisa, she starts going off on Angie K, but eventually she turns her attention to Brunwyn. They start going at it, and Lisa is just in her face. And I say it every other season because I think Lisa just won't understand until somebody puts their hands on Lisa. Lisa, I know deep down inside, she wants to get physical with somebody on the show. Either that or she's just very unaware of how she comes off and how she's like really just in people's space because she's in Bronwyn's face. She keeps getting closer and she's screaming at her. Bronwyn, she tells her, stop waving your finger around in my face. Move back a little bit. Lisa, she's like, or what? Or what? What are you gonna do, huh? What, you're gonna do that neck thing again? You're gonna bob your head? Well, I could put my finger wherever I want. And as soon as she said that, if I was cotton candy, I would have snatched Lisa. I would have snatched Lisa all up and down through Amy's house. And you could tell Amy was just so disgusted. I just kept thinking, did you even watch this show prior to letting them film in your house? Like, this show has been on air for about 5 years. Like, you must have known the chaotic mess that you were allowing into your home. But yet she's looking around just so disappointed. Her husband, he's disgusted. The guests, they're just listening to their conversation going back and forth. Some of them are amused. Some of them are nosy. Some of them are just disgusted. And you know, Amy, I mean, if this was your audition to be a full-time housewife for next season, you clearly didn't pass. Like, what a disappointment. But you have a nice house, though, so kudos. Lisa, all of a sudden, she takes a low blow at Brunwyn, and she's like, what are you gonna do, huh? You gout dick sucker? And obviously, from everybody else's reaction, that was a huge blow to Brunwyn. But I have done my research up and down through Google to figure out what the hell is a gout dick sucker. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Somebody please let me know. Like, obviously it was a huge blow, but what is gout? I mean, I looked up the definitions and I just don't understand how that's an insult or what's going on. Is it like a thing because Todd is old or something? But Brunwyn, I mean, she just kind of rose with it. Instead of, you know, throwing her off, she was just like, yeah, I mean, so what? Yeah, I do enjoy sucking my husband's dick. I'm like, whoa. Now, see, if I was in the crowd, you know, amongst the people and the socialites, I would have been like, yeah, me too. Especially when they slap it on your face and your forehead. Oh, I'm so trashy. You see how I wouldn't be allowed in Amy's house? So then Brunwyn was just like, well, so what? I do enjoy sleeping with my husband. Now, see, Brunwyn, this is where you lost me, because just because Lisa is coming at you like this doesn't mean you have to lie. We didn't need to know that. We know you don't. We saw you last season. So she was just like, oh, so what? In the confessional, she was just like, I mean, yeah, if I have to do X, Y, and Z with my husband to use his Amex card and for him to pay my clothes, then so be it. I'm like, wow. I mean, part of me is just like, you know what? I'm here for it. But then the other part of me is just like, you know, but then again, I feel like it's something that I would do. So you know what, Brunwyn, I'm here for it. So then Lisa was just like, what are you talking about, Brunwyn? First of all, no, I don't need to use anybody else's Amex card. Those are lies. Those are lies. You're not even smart. You need to go to college. Here goes Brunwyn. I don't need to go to college to read the documents and see that you're lying and see that you're being sued. How about instead of worrying about college, you go to work and actually pay off these lawsuits? I'm like, damn, Lisa, like, Lisa, get up. I'm just looking at Lisa on the floor like, Lisa, let me help you. Like, you know, somebody, Meredith, Brittany, where are you? Where is she? Oh, she's over there with Jared. Forget. Mary, can you defend Lisa? Whitney, how about you jump in? No, Whitney was instigating. Whitney was just like, yeah, I mean, I agree with Brunwyn. You don't have to go to college. Like, this was crazy the way they kept going back and forth, and they were just coming face to face. But Brunwyn, you know, her and her questionable outfit, she was just like, you know, she was like the Queen of England, just sitting, you know, nice and pretty and stuff. Like, yeah, no, I'm gonna handle, you know, Lisa without, you know, breaking a sweat. And she was just, eventually she kind of just walked off, and that was that. But Lisa, I mean, in this battle, Lisa, 0. Brunwyn, you get 10 points because the way she chewed you up, Lisa, I mean, she was just like, then she spat you out, and then she chewed you up again like a couple of times. Like, that was crazy to see. But going back to Amy real quick, like, Amy, they really just use your house to just get disrespectful and nasty with each other and then just leave. Like, but let me know what you all thought about this whole episode. Are you Team Brunwyn or Team Lisa? What do you think? And please, somebody let me know what a gout sucker is. Like, please let me know. Like, let me know what you all thought about this whole episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.